Zepla's video on toxic players is practically begging for your own opinion. There it is. Okay, yep, we're gonna watch this 100%. Like, yep, 200%, 300%, 400%. Zepla compares toxic players in Final Fantasy and WoW. All right, boys, here we go. Let the tribalism commence.
Okay, so this was a tweet from Llama Todd. He tweeted that apparently on Primal, it is toxic and aggressive to suggest that someone consider using raid food and meld their gear for savage content. It's practice. Now, I haven't read this yet, so I don't know what this is going to say. This is on Primal Data Center. So, someone says, Red Mage, you should consider fully melding in food. Your HP is a tad low.
Yeah.
You should consider.
Makes sense.
So they're being very polite here. Okay. They say, no.
No.
He's new and learning. No, says the original person. Purple says, why so toxic? Blue says, it's not toxic to ask basic level things like raid food.
Yeah.
Now, you can see from the background, they are on the first savage fight of the tier.
Wait, they're doing...
Erithonios fight.
Wait, they're doing savage? And he's not using food? And the other guy is the one who's toxic? What? Oh my god. Like... Oh my god. What is this? It's practice? How can you practice? The thing is, like, if you want to practice something, you have to have the buffs on. Because certain things you can survive. Like, food buff gives you a lot of health. It gives you a lot of health. So, like, there are things you can survive with and without it. Breakpoints you can hit with and without it.
Green says, I don't think that was toxic. Yellow says, this is not being toxic, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's one of the basic things about savage raiding. Pink says, he said consider. I think that's a kind suggestion, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Purple, our hungry person, says, it's practice, though. Pink says, and wasn't too forced. Blue, when you do endgame stuff, full melds in food. Purple says, you realize that, right? Practice. Blue says, practice makes no difference. Green, let's not dwell. He clearly didn't mean for it to come off as aggressive. Oh, we have a peacemaker here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you in fighting on this? Like, who cares? Like, if you're not going to do it, let's just pull anyway. Like, or just kick the guy out. Like, who cares if it was aggressive or not? The practice. Oh, it's practice, guys.
Purple. Well, it did.
Well, it did come off as aggressive?
No need to fight. Blue. It's not aggressive. Purple. To me, it was. Blue.
Bro, I would just kick him out. I would just kick him out of the group. Like, why? I don't want to deal with this. Like, this is just, like, it's complicated. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, just kick him out. Like, just get out. Like, just go. All right, fine. That sounds good. Just go play with somebody else. It doesn't matter.
It's the expectation. Right? Can we go, lol?
Can we go? Yeah.
Move on now, okay. I mean, are these all randoms in a party finder? Because this is, like, an incredibly civil discussion, to be honest.
Yeah, this isn't bad at all. If this is supposed to be toxic,
like, I'm just looking at everybody that was involved in this discussion, and, like, from someone that used to play WoW, I'm like,
yeah,
holy
exactly.
shit.
It's
we
not
have,
a big
like,
deal
5
at all.
different peacemakers in the party who are all like,
just having
he
a conversation.
Didn't mean to come off as aggressive. He's new. He's learning. Someone else is like, he said consider. I think that's a kind suggestion, to be honest.
Well, I think that this is always what happens, right? Is like you have these people, and it's like this is the... I feel like this is like one type of toxicity that people don't talk about, is like the entitlement that people have, that other people have to play a certain way, or that they don't have to do certain things. And that, I think, is even, that in my opinion, is just as toxic as people that are being rude or assholes. Because both of them just want to get carried and want to be obnoxious. It's passive aggressive. Yeah, expecting them to carry can be toxic too. Exactly.
It's like, ugh. This is not how things work in other MMOs. Dude.
No. You just kick them out.
It's so crazy because, like, everybody's so nice. Everybody's so nice. Like, I'm imagining how this discussion would go in WoW. Hey, mage. Put on food or we'll kick you. No, they're gone.
Exactly. And I think that's totally fair, right? Like, that's what I would do. I would say, like, listen, you've got to use your buffs, and if you don't, we're going to kick you out of the group. He's like, well, I'm not going to use them. Okay, all right, we're going to kick you out. And then that's it. You know, it's actually pretty simple. Like, there doesn't need to be any animosity. There doesn't need to be any, like, hostility. It's just we have this benchmark. You're not meeting the benchmark, and so we're gonna get somebody who is. And they're like, okay, fine. And that's it. You know, like, people take it personally though. Yeah, because their egos are attached up to this. Yeah, exactly. It's so annoying, man. There's expectations. Yeah, there's expectations.
That's it. They got kicked. That's the whole.
That's it.
That's the whole conversation that happened. It's crazy to me that, like,
well,
I guess I just have a different perspective on this because this was clipped as an example of, like, someone being toxic when you're surrounded by super civil
this
people.
Isn't toxic.
Nobody's saying, well, oh, well,
what do you mean?
If you won't eat food, then why don't you eat shit? Because that's probably how this would go and wow.
It's just like, it's so, like, as I said, bro, like, people like this make me so unironically mad. They make me so unironically mad because they are the ones that are going around talking about how toxic everybody else is. And they have no awareness of the fact that they're actually doing it themselves. Yeah, they're doing the exact same thing.
I mean, look, it's true.
It's awful.
It's true. The guy is way off base, and he has no idea what he's talking about. Yes, you should consider fully melding and having food when you're going into Savage. Yeah, you should consider it.
True.
Okay, they're not even saying, like, get the best top-of-the-line food. Get the best top-of-the-line melts. They're not saying that.
Just do what you can do.
But,
it's reverse hidden toxicity. Exactly,
it's a thing that people often do when they're asked to do anything at all, even in the nicest possible way. You're always gonna have people that get really defensive about it. Yeah. Because you told them to do something, and their knee-jerk reaction is to say, "Oh no, don't tell me how to play."
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I'm in a group with somebody and they act like that at all, I just don't want to deal with them. Like, that's it. I don't want to deal with it. Like, okay, all right, let's just get somebody else. Like, I don't want to, like, I just want to play the game. Like, I don't want to have, like, any, like, weird, like, bullshit or whatever. Asmongold, you never meld? Yeah, but it's like people are playing with me and they know that's the case, right? So, like, for example, like, if I'm going to go into a random group and I'm holding people back, I think that's very different than if I'm playing with people who choose to play with me in whatever capacity I'm playing the game initially. So, like, it's two completely different fucking things. I think that, like, if you're going to play with your friends, do whatever the fuck you want. Who cares, right? Carry your friend or, your wife or whoever the fuck it is. Doesn't matter. But if you go into a random group and you're holding back the random group, you are the problem. You mean context matters? Yes, context does matter.
You don't mess up. He even admitted, to me it was. When people were like, that wasn't aggressive, he said, to me it was. And I think that's telling. It was actually a little bit of self-reflection there that I didn't expect. He acknowledges that not everybody else thinks that it was aggressive. It's only him. He's realizing he had a wrong reaction to this by saying, to me, only me, this was aggressive. Like, I think he was actually starting to come around. When in the end...
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Move on now, okay? Like, realizing, okay, I'm being kind of a dickhead. I think that's what happened here. So,
yeah, it's just being a dumbass.
I'd really...
That's all it is. It's just being a dumbass.
What did Lamatod say? It's toxic and aggressive to suggest that someone consider using raid food. It's because the person...
This happens all the time in WoW, too. Like, in WoW, it's the same thing. You have the same players, but, like, in WoW, people are, like, it's easier to be mean to them, so those players kind of get filtered much more quickly. But I've had people that got mad. They're like, oh, you're pulling without allowing me to CC. It's like, well, we don't need the CC. But it's like, yeah, I want to CC. It's like, I don't care what you want to do. I want to finish the dungeon. It doesn't matter, right? And like, this always happens. So, like, I've had to deal with people like this constantly, bro. Like, oh my God, all the fucking time. There's a post about in the Lost Ark subreddit about this today, too. Good timing. The thing is with me, like, this is the way I handle it with other people, right? WoW players have shorter fuses, but the other side is they smell bullshit faster. Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, and the thing is, if I'm playing with somebody who I feel like is handicapping themselves or is not trying, I just kick them out. I just kick them out. Like, that's it. I don't want to play with them. Like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, that's it. Because, like, why am I going to waste my time and my life invested in somebody who's just going to be annoying? You know, like, it's obnoxious, it's annoying, like, you're not going to be able to communicate or work with this person, because, like, I can guarantee you that a person like this, where there's smoke, there's fire. And the odds are, the more that you try to communicate with this person, the more this attitude will manifest itself. And it's never like, oh, they just overreact once. No, there's a lot more.
That's why it's so toxic. Yeah, I mean, it's... Oh, sweet summer child. Is this your first MMO? Did you start with Final Fantasy 14? This is what you think toxic is.
Yeah.
My dear.
You have no fucking idea.
You have really been, you've been treated extremely kindly by people in this game, if that's your bar for toxicity.
It's just the entitlement, man.
It sounds like people... The guy would have survived MW2 lobbies. First online game ever. Yeah, of course. You can't post screenshots like this without blocking the names, okay? If you ever have something stupid happen to you in Party Finder, please do what Lamatod did here and block the names first before posting it on Twitter and sending me the link so we can all make fun of it. Please block the names first, but then send me the link, please.
Yeah, it's like you would like normally not have to block the link and you could just like name out who it is, but the problem is like some people just take it way too far. Like they go way too far. They're like messaging this person in game. Like it's just what is this? Like what the fuck? Like why is this going on? Like I don't care about it. TOS is like whatever, right? But like I'm saying like logically this is what happens, is that people get harassed because, like, why do you want to know the person's name? Like, think about that. Why do you want to know their name? Primarily, like, let's be honest, it's not because you're going to ever play with them again. Like, the game's got, like, millions of people. You're going to forget their name in, like, 3 days. And if you play with them at 6 months later, you're not going to recognize it, realistically. People want to know their name so they can whisper them in-game and be rude. Like, there's no positive benefit to this.
Because it's hilarious. Yeah, I think toxic is very overused.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The bar for calling someone toxic in FFXIV is on the floor. I tend to agree.
Pussy shit.
And that's good. Okay? It's good. Like, don't get me wrong. This is fantastic. It's great that the bar is, like, people are not used to being treated like shit in this game. That's good. We want that. We should be proud that it went this way. Okay.
I had this happen the other day whenever I did New World. I was playing New World, and I was on the last boss of Lazarus. And we had a healer. His name was, like, Cool Guy or something like that. Let me fucking tell you something. That was the last thing he was. This dipshit sat there, and he got hit by every fucking attack. And you know, like those slow attacks where he goes like, single fucking one. And I was so mad about this. And like finally, because I was sitting next to him, I was playing ranged. And I'm like, don't you ever fucking think, why is this guy not taking any damage, but I am? Like, don't you ever think about this for any second? And I finally ask him, I say, why are you standing there? Why are you, because I don't say like you're garbage. I don't say anything. I say, why are you doing this? And there is nothing that triggers me more than this. He didn't even respond to me. He did not even respond to me. And I was like, he would not, like, he did not even, like, he would not even say anything to me. He would not say anything. He's too cool. Yeah, he's too much of a cool guy to respond. And so we do another pull, and it's another fucking wipe because nobody knows how to play the fucking game. And then the healer didn't, you know, like at the end where like he does the beam and the healer has to like spam heal the tank, right? Well, he didn't, and so the tank died, and then everybody else died after that. Big surprise. And like I should have known better, right? Like the group was advertising in chat. They were like, oh, we're at the first boss. No group has people leave at the first boss unless it's a shit group. Let's be honest. So anyway, this goes on. This happens, wasting everybody's time. Exactly. And so I tell him, I'm like, listen, I'm going to leave. Like if we can't sort this out, I'm just going to leave. I don't want to do this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, and then we do it again, and it's a wipe. The guy gets hit again. I just leave. Done. I'm fucking tired. I'm not going to do this. No. Like, why am I going to waste a second of my life on this bullshit? Yeah, and they have to call the group. Exactly. Yeah, I said, fuck that. I'm wasting my time. I didn't get anything good out of that run either. It was probably a Russian in Korea, didn't know English, wanted to play in new servers. Absolutely not. I can not guarantee you, but I can almost guarantee you that in most regards, it's people that think that if you ignore the feedback long enough, that people will move on and stop talking to you. And I never do that. I always press the issue, and I always make them understand. And if they won't, I will not play with them. I will not pull again. I will not do anything until they accurately assess what their problem is. And like that, to me, is actually not toxic at all. In my opinion, I think it's toxic to just keep making mistakes and die over and over and over and think that you're above being communicated with about the mistakes. That's what's fucking toxic to me. I hate that. Yeah, I can literally never be wrong. Yeah, exactly. Just kick them. Well, yeah, but like, I don't want to kick them. Like, it's always easier. Like, this is the thing. It's same with Lost Ark, right? Because of the way the matchmaking works. It's easier to help somebody get better at the game than to reform and do it with somebody else. It's also the same with like Final Fantasy. Like if you're doing an extreme, even if you have somebody who's struggling on the fights and who sucks, I'd rather just have that person get better at the game than have somebody else come in and have them have to relearn the whole thing again. Never kick people out of raids though, because I don't have to. Because they usually improve and get better. It depends on the person. Crystal Pie? Crystal did fine though. Crystal did fine. I can tell, the thing is, like, I can tell whenever somebody is having a hard time and whenever somebody is not trying. And in my opinion, I think that it is so easy to tell the difference between those two things. Like, somebody like, oh, having a tough time at the boss, that's totally fucking fine. Having a tough time at the boss because you don't care, that's totally not fucking fine. Used to kick people from raids all the time. I will kick people from raids if I feel like they're not trying or they are intentionally being stupid or sabotaging themselves or sabotaging the group. I will do that on the first mistake. I don't care. But if somebody is genuinely making a mistake, I will allow them to improve. And usually what I do is I say, if you do this wrong again, I will kick you out. And then they do it wrong again, and I kick them out. That's it.
Okay, there's even like a resolution here at the end where we're all going to move on.
It's that simple.
Nobody's going to get, kicked. We're going to move on and continue to play together. This is excellent.
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, I look at this conversation and I see an example of like a fairly mature community overall.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say the same thing.
It's not so bad. It's not so bad.
4,000 likes.
It's not so bad. Oh, it's color-coded. So all shades of red are DPS. Green and healer
is, like,
and blue are
Bodegro is a really good example. People keep mentioning Bodegro. The reason why I didn't kick Bodegro was not just for stream content. It's that with Bodegro, assume that I have an 18, like a fucking 20-sided dice. With Bodegro, I rolled an 11. I can re-roll. And there's a good chance that I'll get somebody better. But there's also a good chance that I won't. So I'm going to now have to kick Bodegro out of the raid. We're going to have to wait 1 minute for him to leave the raid. And then we have to invite somebody else into the raid, then summon them in, wait for them to get buffed up on their own, explain their rotation to them and what the fight is, and then expect them to do everything right on the first pull and seamlessly transition into the Magtheridon run and click their cube at the right time. What do you think the odds on that happening are? Yeah. Yeah. That's about right. That's why I didn't kick him out.
Thanks. Oh, I see. Well. Coming from WoW, FF14 was the Whiplash. Let me tell you a story, and I'm sure I've told this story before. When we had
Someone says I seem to have a lot more patience than a normal player. I have infinite patience for people that want to get better, and I have no patience for people who don't. If I think that you are fucking around because you don't care, I will immediately kick you out. I will not even think for a second about it. I will just immediately yeet and delete you. That's the difference.
Really huge, our most recent, I should clarify, our most recent really huge wave of WoW players come to FF14.
Yeah.
I had more than one person tell me that they thought everybody in Final Fantasy 14 was being sarcastic to them by saying, hey, good job. Like, hey, you did a really good job on that. And it took them...
Oh, I think Final Fantasy has, like, really good points where, like, a certain class can do a certain thing really well. So, like, for example, like, let's say you're wiping on a fight, and there's, like, a, a group soak mechanic, and there's, like, 6 out of 8 people alive, or 5 out of 8 people alive, and the person who gets it runs out and suicides. Or, like, let's say it goes on a tank, and the tank runs out, and they death save, so they don't die to it, and then they can solo soak that mechanic that would normally be soaked by the whole group. Or, like, let's say the healer gets off, like, a limit break 3 res. Or, let's say, I don't know, like, another mechanic is soaked right at the last second. Like, there are a lot of points where individual players can show off being good by having mastery over the mechanics in the raid. And I think that's why you see a lot of people saying good job in Final Fantasy, especially, is that there are points of responsibility that can be delegated to an individual in certain cases that then that person can kind of take over and do something really cool. Yeah, nice tank swap, exactly. Yeah.
Months to realize, wait a minute. I really am doing a good job. They really meant I was doing a good job.
Wow.
I didn't believe them. I thought they were shitting on me. I had multiple people tell me this, I swear. That they didn't believe that people were actually being that nice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people saying, hey, am I doing okay on this boss? Yeah, you're doing great. Yeah, you're doing really good. We're all really impressed.
See, I never really had this experience that much because, like, I usually, in WoW even, like, what you have to remember is, like, these, like, really bad experiences are, like, these are, like, 1% things. And, like, a lot of times I play with my viewers, I play with people that I'm friends with, so I don't really all the time have to deal with, like, a random people as much as, like, an average person would. So I don't really have this happen a whole lot. But, like, in Final Fantasy, I didn't really have problems with people. It was okay. And in the other game, in WoW, sometimes I do, but, like, it's not that common either. Generally, like, most people just want to come in. Like, this is how I look at it, right? I assume most people want to come in. They just want to get their loot. They don't want any bullshit. They don't want to have to deal with any drama. They don't want to have to type in chat even, right? Most of them don't even want to have to type into chat. Just play the fucking game and let's make it simple.
But the way people mean it is like, you're doing really good. We're so impressed. It's just, you need, like, recovery. You need to recover from what you've been through, man.
Yeah.
I came over from WoW, and I thought people were being sarcastic or mean till someone clarified. I nearly cried. Look, somebody in the chat right now saying the same. Here's somebody else. Yeah, I 100% thought the same thing.
Wow.
Because people are sarcastic like that in M+.
That's crazy.
There's people in the chat right now. This happened in the...
God damn.
That was right. Thank you. Even if I think it's sarcasm. Yeah, I usually do that too.
I'm gonna be honest. I usually never respond to anybody. Like, it sounds bad, but I usually just never respond to anybody. And I just want to, like, I just want to play the game. Like, that's all there is to it. And, like, I'll be honest with you guys, and this is going to sound, like, kind of weird, but, like, this is why I don't respond to people, is that sometimes whenever I do, then they'll start messaging me a lot, and it'll annoy me. And so, like, it's like, don't feed a hungry dog. And, like, that's what they'll do. They'll say it, and then they'll start messaging me over and over and over. And, like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I just want to, like, okay, all right, bro, so we gonna do it? They're like, yeah, we gonna do it. All right, let's do it. Well, we did it. All right, bro, GG. GG, man. Next week? Yep, next week. See ya. And that's it. That's it. Done.
But I can't tell when people are being sarcastic at all. Ever. I'm really bad at noticing sarcasm, so...
Well, it's not everybody, though.
I don't pick up on that real well.
It's just me. Yeah, it's just me.
Coming from WoW to FF14, it took me a while to actually type in party chat in dungeons because of WoW.
What? Is this really a thing? Like, have you guys had the same experience where, like, you don't want to type in chat in WoW? Yeah, your views kind of spoiled at this point, and no streamer likely never have a standard MMORPG experience anymore. Yeah, that's fine. But, like, I was always like this. I was always like this. Like, we would bullshit around in raids sometimes, but, like, usually, like, this is what we would do. Is we would do the raid, and it would be super serious, and then we would be done with the raid, and we would do BGs together, or we would do dailies together, and we were on, like, a PvP server, so we'd play together that way, and that's whenever we'd bullshit around. It's, like, kind of like we had, like, the hardcore group content where everybody put their head down, and they just listened, and they followed directions, and they did exactly what they needed to do, and then after that, we all goofed around, went into our different Discord channels, or actually vent channels back then, and then we played after that. That's usually what we used to do.
It's okay. You're safe here. You're safe here now. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. No one is toxic in FF. Yeah, that's actually what I said. Yeah, what I said was that no one has ever been toxic in Final Fantasy 14. And if you were toxic before,
yeah, they'll get banned.
When you install FF14 on your computer, it cleanses your soul like a spiritual shower, and you're no longer capable of telling lies or saying anything mean ever again. Yeah.
I think also, like, usually this is a big difference, is that parsing mentality is not as big in Final Fantasy 14 as it is in WoW. Like, whenever you go into LFR, or whenever you go into, like, even a normal mode dungeon in WoW, you have people that are immediately trying to parse. They are immediate. It is. No, it's not. Like, people queue the duty finder all the time, and every time you get people that do the mechanics. I do not. It is for Savage. So then it's not. Savage is like a 5%, 3% population thing. Oh, it's like this for 3% of the population, so this is the way the game works? No. That's not how it works. I'm talking about normal people. Normal people don't try to parse or, like, you know, stand in mechanics as much in Final Fantasy as they do in WoW.
So.
WoW has parsers in normal content? Absolutely. Yeah.
Wait, is it sarcasm? No.
And also, there's not as many damage meters in Final Fantasy either.
What?
So there's also a fixation on
Cleanse me. What? Mine was a spiritual bubble bath.
Actually wrong this time? Well, no, like, what I'm saying, like, all right, get this. what I'm saying is that whenever, like, what is the equivalent of Duty Finder in WoW? Like, what would you consider the equivalent of that? Like a Group Finder, like a LFR, or like, what do you want to say, right? Like LFR? People play worse in LFR than they do in Duty Finder. And the reason why they do that, a big reason, is number one, there's more people, so it's easier to do that and not get noticed. Number two, there is a parsing culture in WoW that is much more prevalent. I'm sorry, but this is just the truth. There are way more people that care about parsing in LFR and normal mode. I know you might not believe this, but it's fucking true. Go watch people play, and they will do the exact same fucking thing. And they play like clowns, they get themselves killed, and they don't care. That's what happens. And like in Final Fantasy, it doesn't happen that much. Obviously, if you're doing like probably an extreme for the current expansion, maybe there's going to be more people that act that way. But what you're comparing is, this is like, in WoW, this is the overall player behavior, versus in Final Fantasy, this is player behavior at a high level. With WoW, it's everybody doing this. With Final Fantasy, it's only a select group of people doing it. That's the difference.
One time, though, like talking about toxic people in Final Fantasy 14, one time I knew somebody that told me that he was friends with a GM, and anytime people did something he didn't like, he would say that actually his GM friend is standing right next to us, but he's invisible, so we can't see him. But he's actually in the game right now, but because he has GM powers, we can't see him in the game, but we better watch out.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Okay. I that's the kind of shit that happens. Yeah, I mean, that's the same as, like, my uncle works at Nintendo. Like, we've seen so many of those. Like, that's a very, very common thing. Okay. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, my dad works at Nintendo. Like, he knows all the cheat codes for Mario, okay? Example of that has been banned once or twice. Well, yeah, but, like, what I'm saying is that, like, you can point out examples of this in Final Fantasy 14, but what I'm saying is that Final Fantasy has examples of it, whereas WoW, that is the norm.